All right, let's take you to New York now, where a key witness just testified in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. R&B singer and his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura took the stand today. Now, we have to warn you, the details in this case are very difficult.
All right, pause. This just got real. We're diving straight into the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs, a cultural icon facing criminal enterprise allegations. Buckle up. Let us know in the comments. Did you see this coming, or does this feel like a bombshell?
Let's bring in CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman. She's been following this case for us outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Katrina, can you go over just what happened in court today?
So we are currently hearing from Sean Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. She walked into the courtroom today in a very tight brown dress that shows off her very late stage pregnancy. This is actually something that the defense was hoping not to have happen. They felt that the jury seeing her pregnant might make her seem more sympathetic to them. It looks as though they lost that battle in front of the judge. But Cassie has been testifying about her relationship with Sean Combs.
And there it is, jury optics. The defense tried to prevent Cassie from appearing pregnant in court. Why? Sympathy. Jurors are human. Seeing a visibly pregnant witness testifying about abuse? That's powerful, and it may tip the emotional scales.
How it developed from when she was very young. They met when she was 19, I believe it was. He first kissed her around her 21st birthday, and then we're starting to learn about how they got closer, how he started to exert what appears to be the government trying to show a pattern of control over her life. She was signed to a record deal with his company, but they only put out one of the 10 records that she was supposed to have. So he was in control of a lot of her finances. He got her apartments.
He signed her to a 10-record deal and only released one? That's not just career sabotage. It's control through financial dependency. Classic grooming tactic or just bad business? What do you think? Calculated or coincidental?
She has started to testify about the abusiveness in their relationship and the sexual proclivities that he introduced her to, like voyeurism and something that he called freak-offs, where she would get male escorts or he would get male escorts, and they would engage in sex acts for anything from hours to days. And she also talks about how their relationship became violent, and she didn't know which side of Combs she would get in the morning. At one point saying that she didn't know if she made the wrong face, if he would hit her in the face. You can also see the government starting to try to lay out this racketeering scheme that they're accusing him of, where they say that he was running his company as a criminal enterprise. She says that his security guards and trusted assistants took part in keeping an eye on her, tracking her down if Combs couldn't reach her. We're on pause for lunch now, but she's taking the stand again any moment to continue their story, and we expect it to go on for the next few days.
Here's the legal kicker: racketeering. Prosecutors aren't just saying Diddy did bad things. They're alleging a full-blown criminal enterprise. If proven, this isn't just about personal misconduct. It's about systemic abuse with an infrastructure behind it.
And Katrina, before you go, I just want to make sure we cover what are Diddy's defense lawyers saying about all of this? They're not denying that he had some unusual proclivities, right?
You are absolutely right. In opening statements yesterday, they made it clear that they are owning up to a lot of Sean Combs' faults. They say that he's guilty of domestic violence, that he has committed assaults, that he has a really bad temper, but they're saying these are not the things that he's charged with. You know, at the same time, they do want to really make him seem more empathetic to the jury. You know, it was even just interesting watching Sean Combs in court today. I was looking at him during moments that might, you know, strike a chord with the jury, and sometimes I could see him, you know, looking at Cassie and then scanning them to get their reaction. Really, their defense is, one, that he has a lot of these issues, but they just do not align with the charges here.
Katrina Kaufman live outside that courthouse for us. Katrina, thank you so much.
The courtroom fell into a hushed silence as Cassandra, Cassie Ventura, took the witness stand for the very first time in the trial against Sean Diddy Combs, a man she once called her partner, mentor, and protector. What followed was a harrowing account that would chill every person present. Dressed in a simple black suit, Cassie carried herself with a quiet intensity, her her voice steady but thick with emotion. The judge asked for order as murmurs rippled through the crowd. This was the moment the nation had been waiting for, the unraveling of a powerful man's empire, one shocking testimony at a time. Cassie began by recounting how she met Diddy at the tender age of 19. She described herself as a wide-eyed, aspiring singer with dreams of making it big. Diddy, already an industry titan, showed immediate interest in her career and promised the world. "He told me I was special," she said, her voice cracking slightly. "That he would make me a star. That I didn't need anyone else but him." Her words painted the classic picture of a young woman groomed by power. In those early days, she said, his charm was magnetic, and his attention made her feel invincible. But the fairy tale would soon take a dark turn. Within months, she claimed, their relationship had morphed from professional to deeply personal, and increasingly controlling. She described how Diddy took over nearly every aspect of her life: what she wore, who she spoke to, and when she could leave the house. "At first, I thought it was love," Cassie testified. "But then I realized it was about domination." She told the court how she was gradually isolated from friends and family, dependent solely on Diddy for emotional and financial survival. But it was when she recounted the parties that the courtroom's mood grew darker. Cassie detailed a disturbing ritual Diddy allegedly imposed, which he referred to as freak-offs. According to her testimony, these were orchestrated nights where she was required to engage in sexual acts with other men, sometimes strangers, often under the influence of alcohol or drugs, and always under Diddy's gaze. "He would film everything," she stated solemnly. "It was never consensual. I was scared. I felt owned." Gasps rippled through the gallery as she described the emotional and psychological coercion. She said saying no was never an option. "If I resisted," she explained, "he would become violent. Or worse, he'd threaten to ruin my life." Perhaps the most damning part of her testimony came when Cassie described an incident that occurred in a Los Angeles hotel suite in 2012. Her voice faltered as she recounted being beaten by Diddy during a jealous rage. "He thought I was looking at another man," she said. "He slammed me against a wall, punched me, and dragged me across the floor by my hair." She added that hotel staff witnessed the aftermath, but no one intervened. The prosecution displayed grainy hotel surveillance footage that appeared to corroborate her claims, showing a disheveled Cassie limping out of an elevator while trying to hide her face. Cassie's testimony continued with accounts of forced drug use. She claimed Diddy kept a constant flow of substances, ecstasy, cocaine, and alcohol, to keep her compliant. "He'd hand me pills like they were candy," she said. "If I didn't take them, he'd accuse me of being ungrateful or disloyal." She alleged that these substances often left her in a daze during the so-called freak-offs, further blurring the lines of consent. She emphasized that she was often under duress, psychologically broken and physically exhausted. Her voice trembling, she told the court, "I wasn't living, I was surviving." Throughout her testimony, Cassie remained composed, but there were moments when tears slipped down her cheeks. She apologized to the court multiple times, not for what she endured, but for taking so long to speak up. "I was scared of what he might do to me, or to my family," she said. "He told me he'd kill me if I ever told anyone, and I believed him." Her words cut through the courtroom like a razor. The gallery was frozen, some spectators visibly shaken, others wiping away tears. Even the jury looked visibly disturbed, some shifting uncomfortably in their seats. The defense attempted to discredit her, suggesting she was exaggerating events or seeking a financial settlement. But Cassie stood firm. She reminded the court that she had already settled a civil case privately. What she wanted now was justice. "This isn't about money," she said, locking eyes with the jury. "It's about truth. It's about telling the world what he really is. So he can't do this to anyone else." Her closing remarks echoed through the courtroom as the judge called for a recess. The silence that followed wasn't just out of respect. It was born from disbelief, grief, and awakening. Cassie's first day of testimony may have ended, but its impact was seismic. The carefully crafted image of Sean Diddy Combs as a mogul, mentor, and philanthropist had been ripped apart in just under 2 hours. Cassie hadn't just opened the door to her trauma. She had kicked it down. What happens next in this trial remains to be seen, but one thing was certain. The court and the world would never see Diddy the same way again.